So, welcome back to my channel. I'm outside now. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day. It's cool and the wind is blowing and it just feels like fall in the south, which is very unusual because usually we have summer and then kind of winter and then summer again. So, yeah. And one thing that I absolutely love is dogs. So, let me show you something I have on my porch out here. Home is where your dog is, not your heart. And the realtor that sold us this house gave me that, and I just had to put dogs, so there you go. So I'm going to read, excuse me while I sit down. There's another dog thing up there. I'm going to read another one of my blog posts. Let me get it pulled up here. And if you notice that my hair is different now, disclaimer, I will have different probably hairstyles because I wear a wig, not because I have to, but my hair is just getting thinner. And as I get older, and I decided to try one, and by golly, I loved it. So I have my hat on today, but I've got a couple more wigs on order. So anyway, and I have no shame when it comes to saying things like that. I mean, I have nothing to hide. Okay, so let's get to my next post is called Frozen Children. I was reading about a couple who were having fertility problems and decided to have in vitro fertilization done. What it boils down to is this. They had 6 embryos created from their own sperm and egg and decided to only have 2 implanted. And what of the other 4? Well, they are being kept frozen in case they are ever needed in the future. To me, that is like having 4 children kept on call in the freezer. Being a Christian, I think that life is created at conception. It horrifies me to think of these children held in suspension. I see it this way. What if I had 2 embryos conceived in vitro, and one was to be my daughter Caroline, and the other my son Connor? If I picked, say, randomly Caroline, then my precious Connor would be forever on ice, and I would never get to know him as a human, a child, a person. Equally as bad would be if I picked Connor over Caroline and never let my daughter blossom into the young adult she is today. And that's a pretty short one, but I guess that will lead me into telling you about my wonderful children. I have a daughter, Caroline, who is, are you 26, Caroline? I think, yeah, she's 26. She's married to a wonderful, wonderful man, Nick, who is a firefighter. And Caroline graduated from my alma mater, University of Louisiana at Monroe. Of course, it was called Northeast Louisiana University when I graduated 30 years ago. They just can't leave things the same, I guess. So Caroline graduated from there with honors and with her Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and after working for a few years in the ER of a local hospital, she got accepted into family nurse practitioner school, and she graduates next May. So her dad and I are extremely proud of her and the fantastic young lady she has grown up into. She's doing good with her grades, and I'm looking forward to seeing what her future holds. And then my son, Connor, who is 18 months younger than Caroline, he graduated from Louisiana Tech University with a major in computer science and a minor in music. And he is working at Notre Dame in the research computing department as an associate research programmer. The way he got that job was the summer before he graduated, he wanted to apply for an internship somewhere in the world. It's a program to where you can research, you can look and see what interests you. There are countless numbers of topics that you can intern on during the summer, and he could have gone to France, Switzerland, anywhere in the United States. So he chose this internship at Notre Dame in the summer, and he ended up applying for a job there and got it after graduation. I'm going to post at one point his video that he made during that internship of studying the genome of the mosquito that is a vector for malaria. And in his work, since he started there, he has gotten to travel to Africa and attend a worldwide meeting of the brains on malaria. He took an extra week while he was down there and basically took a vacation. And he has also gotten to go to, Europe to study, I think it was in London, to study with some cohorts that he was doing a project on at Notre Dame. And he has a friend that he works with that's from Switzerland. No, it's Scotland, excuse me. So they flew up there to Scotland before the trip, before the actual work week. And so they had a little vacation there, and then he took the train to London and then stayed for a week. And then he took a few days vacation in France by himself. Made this mama real nervous because it was during a time of unrest, like where's there not unrest today? But he got to do that. And then he got invited up by IBM to Upper New York State at a ski resort, and it was basically what they called a hackathon. It's not where you spend 24 hours hacking somebody's computer, which is what it sounds like to me, but it was where a meeting of the minds get together, and for 24 hours they all work on the same coding project. To me, it sounds like what we used to do in like the youth group, like rockathons. We would get donations and we would rock all night long, but I don't think they rocked all night long on that one. So anyway, I'm very proud of my son and my daughter, and I love them very much. Now, I'm going to talk a lot sometimes on being a Christian, and when I say, like in my first video, that God told me this, God told me that, I have never actually heard the audible voice of God, but as a Christian, I have His Holy Spirit in me, and I know when His Spirit's speaking to me. I know when these thoughts come up and they are not mine. So that's what I'm talking about with that. I'm going to read my next post, and I will put links to my blog and my Facebook page down below when I figure out how all this works. Okay, so this one's entitled, The Kirby Man, or God Cares About Your Dirty Carpet. I was complaining about an area of stain on the carpet in my daughter's room yesterday. You see, I have the carpet steam cleaned about 2 times a year and had just had it done last month. And this was written back in 2012 when I still had kids at home. My daughter wanted to move her furniture around, and when she did, it uncovered a big area of ugly stain. I wondered if the carpet cleaning company would come back for no charge and remove it, since I had paid for the whole house to be done, and that was a part of the carpet. Well, fast forward to this morning. The doorbell rings, and who should be at my door but a Kirby steam cleaner salesman? Not thinking about the stain, I told him I was not interested before he could say a word. Poor guy, he was just doing his job. Then he said, I only wanted to clean a small area of your carpet to showcase my product. I said no, thank you, before I could think twice. He had a hurt look on his face when I said goodbye and closed the door. Later on, I thought, well, duh, you wanted the stain cleaned, and God sent you the Kirby Man to your doorstep, and you said no. Now, I have no doubt that was not a coincidence. Come on, free carpet cleaning to my door a day after I had wished for it doesn't just happen. The moral of the story is opportunity knocks but once, and God really does care about dirty carpet. And this next one This is the last one I have on there right now. It's called War, Soap, and Jell-O. And how do those relate? Well, listen. I have had this blog in my head for a few weeks. It was one of those that, at least for this writer, seemed hard to write because I can think of so many good directions to go with it. It is not that this is such an awesome topic. In fact, it might bore you. But as I read through the old magazines I am about to list, it just screams to be written. Things pop out at me that maybe wouldn't to the average sane person. I love to collect old magazines such as Life, Ladies' Home Companion, the Saturday Evening Post, ad nauseum. When I say old, I mean that there are some dated all the way back to 1935. It totally fascinates me to peer into life as it was back in the olden days. The ads are interesting, seeing what items were hailed as new and modern. How innocent things seemed in those years, and rightly so. The main occupation of women was homemaking. The men dressed in their suits and went off to work, and the women put on their nice dresses and aprons and pearls and tended the domestic front. If the women did happen to work outside of the home, it was as secretaries to those men in suits. There was another occupation that seemed fine for the ladies of the wartime era, the military nurse. One of my magazines had a picture of a pretty woman dressed prim and proper in her medical attire. What was written about this lady was amazing, and I quote, "Nurse X was in the first group of Army nurses to arrive in Korea and in the first to come back with personal accounts of the Army Nurse Corps' work at the front lines. Because she is most attractive, she was ordered to report for stateside recruiting duty. She must have done her job well, for she has just received reassignment orders." Can you imagine the military officially doing this in today's society? It would be a scandal. If one was pretty enough, she would get a cushy job away from the front lines. Wonder if they did the same for exceptionally handsome men. Somehow I doubt it. Talk about an unequal treatment of the sexes. Another interesting wartime item was the victory bond. One ad stated this: "Help our boys protect your own future. Victory bond dollars work two ways for our boys." And what about the girls? And for veterans. And for you. Because they not only help care for wounded veterans, they help you save for things that you want. Remember, for every $3 you lend, your government returns $4. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, as much as I know about such things, which isn't a lot, that these bonds were wonderful tools, but somehow along the way, the government started taking $3 from every $4 a person made. Funny how things change. Another interesting article concerning soldiers was how to handle the dad's homecoming in relation to the kids. Here are some questions posed by those readers. Shall I take my children along to meet my husband at the airport? When my husband left home, there were just us two. Now Betty is 18 months old and is no angel. She takes a lot of my time. How can I keep my husband from feeling that the fun's all over and everything's different? And I put in, this is my comment. I know what the question is referring to, but I can't help adding my opinion. The fun of war is over and things are different because he is no longer in the dangers of war. My mother wants to take the children to stay with her for the whole first month of my husband's return. Is this a good plan? I say just try to keep the kids away from Dad when he returns. I know my husband, if he was in the military, would never stand for that. He is such a good father to our children. I am not trying to second guess that the family of the soldier goes through, not trying to second guess what the family of the soldier goes through, because my husband has not been in the military. These are just my observations from the outside looking in. Many cigarette ads address the issue of keeping the soldiers supplied with their products. One such ad states that the military personnel get first call on all the smokes. It is still service first until all of them are back again. I can't imagine the tobacco makers of today possibly running out of cigarettes as to make this statement. It is almost like saying, let's make sure our soldiers come back really addicted to cigarettes. Something I found strange and still don't understand has to do with soap conservation during wartime. An ad for Ivory Snow stated that all soap is made from vital materials. Don't waste it. Yet another was for Risley Bath Soap, treasured because each perfect bath cake is richly, huge, delicately perfumed, and highly polished. It is the best loved of all fine bath soaps. It almost sounds like soap was just like gold. Maybe I'm showing my ignorance, but I don't get it. Just how did going easy on the soap help the war efforts? Maybe one of you senior citizens could shed light on it. Sugar seemed to be another item in shortage those days. Here is an ad for Jell-O. The war's tribulations aren't quite over in the grocery stores yet, and we are even sorrier about that than you are. But until sugar becomes more plentiful, we just won't be able to make nearly as much Jell-O. What about sugar-free Jell-O? Keep looking, and when you do find some, treat them like the treasures that they are. Save them for high days and holidays. What were high days? I don't know. Makes me want to hoard the gelatin next time I go to the store, especially strawberry, my favorite. Another ad contained a recipe that boasted of only needing 7/8 of a cup of sugar. I don't know about you, but I don't have anything to measure such a small amount. Please don't misunderstand my intent. I am not making light of the problems that go along with wartime in any era. I have the utmost respect for the men and women who are serving our great country. I just hope that Jell-O is always available and conservation of soap is not needed to be patriotic. I love sugar and long baths. So that's all I have posted on my blog right now, but I'm going to put some more up, and I thank y'all for listening. See you another day.